Hi everybody, welcome to part 2 of the LGBT Pop Culture podcast. I'm just giving up on calling these videos their podcasts. If you haven't seen part 1, it doesn't really matter which order you do this in, but if you enjoy this, I would recommend going back and watching part 1. Part 1 I talked about a lot of books that are LGBT related that are good, and some are, fantasy. They're also sitting right here because I'm recording this right after. I just really didn't take this off. I'm not gonna know which video it is, but I don't care. I'll figure it out when I'm editing. Some are more realistic, some you can hide better if you're still in the closet, some are more out there. I'm just gonna pop this on. Whoop. My first aid kit's in there. There. I got a new hat. It's my new pride hat that I got from Michael's. Anyways, so this episode, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna call it an episode, I'm gonna call it a video, I'm gonna call it whatever I want. It's my show. I'm gonna talk about TV shows and movies and then a couple songs, but I also realized I do have a couple podcasts that I've listened to that are really great LGBT-wise. For one, RuPaul's What's the Tea with Michelle Visage. Super good. I have listened to the first few episodes with my mom. It's been a while, but I've been listening to other podcasts. I'm currently listening to a Canadian true crime one, but I will get back into these. Then there is #QueerAF. Don't F it up. It is actually the F word. I just keep this clean to a degree. But they interview a bunch of drag queens, which I've listened to a couple of them, and it's amazing. I think I've got other ones saved, they just don't show up. Or not. There's one called Hijinks, which is by another drag queen named Jinx Monsoon. One of my favorite drag queens by far. I have actually seen her live, and it was amazing. She has narcolepsy, and she doesn't fit in, and I have loved her since she walked onto Drag Race in season 6. I watched season 6 way after it came out because I had no idea it existed until my mom started watching it. But ever since I watched season 6, as soon as she walked on that screen, absolutely head over heels. I'm gonna see if I can find the other Pride ones, if I could spell the word Pride properly. Okay, hold on. If I just do LGBT, there we go. Oh no. Oh, I don't like some of my things are. My crime one is showing up for LGBT. Anyways, okay. Anyways, those are the ones I've listened to. I can always update you guys. I almost hit play on my podcast. Yeah, so I thought I'd just bring those up really quick before I forget. Anyways, let's get into the actual part of this. As I've said in part 1, I have a book that I sit and write down different books, TV shows, movies, songs, quotes, drag queens I love. I think that's it so far. Yes. But, nonetheless, I have done this stuff, and I just like having it around. So, TV shows. There are obviously dozens that have LGBT representation. I personally am just going to talk about the ones I've watched because I don't want to give you guys these shows and have them just not have any warning to them, basically, because it's not my goal. At least with the ones I've watched, I can give any sort of warnings for these things. I can just at least let you know what you're kind of in for. So the first one is sex education. I will warn you, there is a lot of sex scenes. I was caught off guard because the first one happens within the first 5 minutes of the first episode of the first season. You get used to it, but main character's best friend is gay, and a bunch of other people come out in different aspects throughout the entire show. They point out a lot of different issues that surround literally anyone in the world. they talk about, you know, having parents that weren't around, having, you know, being LGBT, being whatever else, and just being able to find yourself, being able to support those around you. It's a phenomenal show. I absolutely love, and I'm waiting very impatiently for the next season, to be honest. I don't know, I went on a limb watching it because I'm fairly close to asexual, so sex and whatnot doesn't really appeal to me. Like, watching that stuff, reading that stuff, hearing about it, talking about it, whatever. It's definitely not my forte, but I don't know, something was different about this. I think it's the fact that I'd heard many things that it was LGBT friendly. I gave it a shot and I loved it. I tend to just kind of look away when it comes to the parts that make me uncomfortable and just keep going. I am going to pause for a second because I need to go and get my cat because he is scratching at my door right now. So, one moment. Alright, I am back. I had to go and put my hamster into a room where my cats can't get at her, and now I'm good. I'm good. I'm back. I am set. Yeah. So anyways, the second show that I'm going to talk about is Queer Eye, which in the last episode, video, whatever, I did make mention to it as I have a book of theirs, but Queer Eye is a reality show. They go around helping people find themselves, better themselves, and I mean, it's 5K, guys. I absolutely love them. They're incredible. There was an original Queer Eye. I think I know 2 of the guys that were on it. One of them is in a cooking show called Chopped, which me and my family have watched forever. I had no idea that he was part of the community until I saw what the original Queer Eye was. And the second one I know is Carson Kressley. He is on Drag Race a lot, and he is just this flamboyant, like, I don't know, he's just very out there, and I love him. He's great. I've only personally watched the new one, and they have 4 seasons. They also have bonus seasons they did in Japan. It's 5 guys. There's Jonathan, who is the hair care, face care, skin care, makeup, this, that, and the other thing. Then there is Anthony, who teaches people how to cook, how to, like, properly meal plan, you know, do all that stuff. Bobby is the decorator. He redoes people's homes. He helps them fix up their lives. Tan is the clothing expert. He helps people just to gain a fashion sense. And then there's Karamo, who he gets me emotionally almost every episode because he's more of the spiritual guide, I guess. And he just tries to help people with any problems they're having mentally or in their family. And he has a way about him that's just so soothing and just always manages to hit me in the feels. So, yeah, highly suggest Queer Eye. Again, waiting very impatiently for another season. Never Have I Ever. I know I've watched it, but I've only watched it once, and that was forever ago, and there wasn't that much. So I don't remember who or what parts of it are LGBT. Definitely don't watch it if you're crazily young. Like, I think I watched it when I was, like, 16. So just try to keep it above 15. And, I mean, this is just me saying it. It's up to you if you go against that. Same with sex education. I wouldn't recommend it for people under 15, but it's your choice. Just know that I did give a warning on the age restrictions. It may say differently on the show. I don't know. But that's just my personal opinion. I just don't want to be at fault if somebody decides to watch it and they're under that age and they see things that they shouldn't. Glee. I've never fully gone through it. Unfortunately, there is a lot around the actors and actresses. I didn't even get through season 1 before everything started hitting me. They do talk about LGBT a lot, and it's a good show. They have a movie as well. It's really great. I love it, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I just want to give warnings for those that are wanting to be careful with who they watch, who they like put the time into, appreciate their stuff. Corey Monteith, who plays Finn, he's the main guy. He died, I don't remember how long ago. I just remember my mom being very upset about it. She has watched Glee since it started. Leah Michele, who plays Rachel. I don't know much about it, but on Drag Race there is one queen who I definitely have a hard time with just because of the attitude she gives, but she had a lot of problems with Leah Michele being really inappropriate towards her, and apparently a lot of other people have too, but I haven't looked into it. I have enough struggles with the other actors and actresses. Well, with Corey Monteith, it's just an emotional thing for me, just knowing that he's not around anymore, and I know my mom talked about the fact that they did do an episode that was dedicated to him after his passing. The guy that plays Puck, I don't know his name. He is not he's not a great guy. I don't want to go into details as I don't 100% know everything. I just heard some things, and I don't really want to make this have to be like a crazy trigger warning episode. It's just, he's done some things. And I mean, then the other one is Naira Vera, which I feel like everybody knows. She died in 2020, which I think was one of the hardest things for me to hear about, because I have loved her since I started watching it. Since I watched the movie with my mom when I was little, I'd watch episodes with her every so often, and Naira Vera just always, there was something about her that just kind of spoke to me, and I really appreciated her. And when she died, it hit me hard. It was one of the hardest, I think, celebrity deaths for me. So yeah, it sucked, and now I really struggle to even listen to her singing, to just watch a video about her. I struggle, because I'm a very emotional person, so watching that stuff, it's hard. So I highly recommend Glee. It's good. It's really amazing. Kurt Hamill makes it completely worth it. But yeah, I do think there's some homophobia. I mean, there is homophobia, but I don't know how deep it goes. I just know what's in the first season. I think I watched the movie at 12, so not a bad thing for younger audiences. Just know that there is some I think there's some language issues and stuff. Just be cautious. Please watch the ratings of these things. Riverdale, yet another one. Would not recommend. I mean, I think they're on season 4 or 5, and I've been watching since it started. It's for a mature audience. I honestly had to mature a lot quicker than I care to admit, so I was used to that stuff. For those of you that like the Archie comics, I will warn you, while the characters are the same names, general same look, storyline is not the same. It's way more gruesome. I have loved the Archie comics since I was probably 5. My grandpa used to keep them in his bathroom under the sink, and I used to just grab them and I would literally just sit on the bathroom floor. I would shut the door, and I would just sit there reading Archie comics because I was just obsessed. And I mean, a lot of the time I didn't even read them. I just watched all the pages as I went through. And now if I find Archie comics that are cheap or anything, like there's a thrift store that's down the street from me, and they have a lot. They're now like $1 each, I think, but they were 25 cents when they first came to the store. I don't think people knew how like quickly they were gonna go, but I bought like 5 or 6, I think. I already had a ton. I get them at used bookstores all the time. I buy them online. I think I only bought one firsthand, and it's this thick one that's just like a bunch of the stories. I have Betty and Veronica, I've got Archie, I've got Jughead Digest, I've got the Riverdale Digest. Riverdale is not the same. Still has Jughead, Archie, Betty, Veronica. It still has the Will They, Won't They. It still has this, that, and the other thing. But a lot of things are different. For those of you that want to read the comics, it has recently come out that Jughead is asexual in the comics. Obviously, that is not the same in Riverdale. I will warn you now. But there's Kevin Keller, who's gay. There's Cheryl Blossom, who is bi. Tony Topaz, who's at least lesbian. I don't know if she is bi. I don't remember the early seasons. But I know for sure she is at least a lesbian. Don't know past that. I don't think they ever mentioned her being in a opposite sex relationship. Anyways, Riverdale, depending on how mature you are and what you can handle, I'd say at least 14 and up, 13 and up, but just be a teenager or higher, please. RuPaul's Drag Race, there is some coarse language, there is some nudity, but it's because they're in and out of drag all the time. I mean, there's a couple inappropriate queens. There is a lot of sex talk. There are a lot of people that talk about their past experiences. So I'll give trigger warnings now because I don't think they really give them. But in a reality show like that, with people who are LGBT, who do drag, a lot of them are people of color. They've talked about people who are trans. There's a lot of aspects, and I mean, you kind of just expect to hear that stuff. A lot of them tell stories that are really hard. There's one queen, Blair St. Clair, who goes into a more touchy subject. I'll give trigger warning. I don't want to say it. As I know it's a struggle for some people to just hear about those things. But Drag Race, I will give a trigger warning. There are things they talk about that are really hard to listen to. I personally have not really gone through their experiences, and it still hits me hard. So, yeah, it's a good show. There's regular Drag Race that has 13 seasons. There's All Stars, which has 6. Don't watch All Stars until you've watched Drag Race. If you want to watch them in order, search it up and do chronologically. That's what me and my best friend are doing. She's never watched it before, and we aren't even through season 2 yet. We skipped season 1. I can't watch season 1. You can tell it was a very early thing for them, and it just... When you've watched the late... Because I watched it based on when Netflix had them. So they only had, like, seasons 8, 9, 10, I think. And then they kind of went back and got 5, 6, 7, and then 8 through 10. And then they got 11, and they got 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you... Or they didn't even have 1 yet. They only had 2 through 11. They just now, I think, got 12 on. 13 just finished. As I'm recording this. Obviously, if you're watching this way later, big change. But there's a UK one that has 2 seasons. There's a Canadian one that has a season. I personally didn't enjoy it very much. I love the queens, but it just wasn't up to par to me. Sorry, this keeps tilting. That's the problem with my case. There's an Australian one that me and my mom are currently watching. There are other ones, they just don't have RuPaul. But there's I think a Thailand one, I know for sure. I think there's Spain one. I don't know what else there is. I personally only watched the ones with RuPaul, except for Canadian, which had a queen that was on regular Drag Race. Yeah, so, Drag Race. Definitely one to watch, just be cautious of the things that are said and the stories that are told. I am at 15 minutes. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to monitor how long I'm on here because I do have to go to bed at a decent time. It is officially 11:30, which means I will probably be recording this as I hit Pride Month, and I will probably mention it. But that is not the point. Feel Good. This was a show I just recently finished. I was originally gonna watch it with my ex, and we never got to it. It's about this girl named May. It's actually her real name, May Martin. She is a Canadian comedian. Well, that's a mouthful. And she just goes over her experiences in life. Lisa Kudrow, who a lot of people know as Phoebe Buffay from Friends, she actually, she's May Martin's mom in the show. And, like, again, mature audience, least teenager, I'd say 15 and up. I just watched it this year. It's amazing. There is a season 2 coming. But yeah, it's on Netflix, at least in Canada. I don't know about elsewhere, but I strongly suggest it. How to Get Away with Murder. Obviously, with murder in the title, there's a lot of more gruesome things. The only reason it's on this list is because one of the main guys in the group is gay, and he's great. I stopped watching after the first few seasons because it didn't appeal to me anymore. I think I watched 3 seasons and tried to watch the 4th, and it just didn't work for me. It's a good show, either way. There's not much to say about that for me. Stranger Things, they don't really mention LGBT until the 3rd season, where one of the characters who I love comes out. I will not spoil who, because it was a game changer for me. I actually have the pop figure of them. I have a lot of Stranger Things ones, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and like 6 of them are 11. She's a character from it. I just realized that can be really confusing for those who don't watch it. But yeah, it's a good show either way. Definitely a little bit of jump scare warning. Yeah, it's a bit of a thriller. I wouldn't call it horror. It's not horror. I watch it. I hate horror. At this point, it's starting to not sound like a word. But it's very thriller-esque. I've definitely jumped a few times, but I love it. I've watched it fully through 3 times now, and the 4th season is coming, so I am not okay with this. That's literally the name of the show. It has 2 of the main people from it. I only know that through my ex. They're both really great. I think they both actually play the same named characters in both it and I'm Not Okay With This. I could be wrong. I'm looking now. It's gonna be easier for me to go through it because also in Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard is from it if you watch that, and vice versa. I've never watched it. Like I said, don't like horror stuff. Yeah, so the main chick plays Bev in it, and she plays Sydney in I'm Not Okay With This. I totally forgot. But in I'm Not Okay With This, Wyatt Olaf, who I have loved for so long. He is an actor on Once Upon a Time and in the Guardians movies. In the Guardians movies, in Guardians of the Galaxy, from Marvel, he plays a young Peter Quill, which is Chris Pratt's character, and I know Chris Pratt is not for the community, but I know Marvel is, and I mean, it's the biggest kick in the pants that his character is actually bi, so, you know. Still love Marvel, and they gave him the kick in the pants that if he doesn't, there were rumors that he was gonna quit, so. Anyways, not the point. He's also played a young Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time, but he plays Stanley Barber in I'm Not Okay With This, and Stanley Uris in It. But yeah, his main known for is I'm Not Okay With This, It, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and Once Upon a Time, which was where I'd known him from. I mean, he's in the second Guardians too, but, you know. I think, too, if you've watched Pretty Little Liars, just checking to make sure I got this right, because I don't want to give you false information. Looks like I'm wrong. Oh yeah, I'm definitely wrong. It's just from the side image. Never mind. We're gonna ignore that I said anything. Obviously, following on the Drag Race thing, I did put Drag Race All-Stars on here, which I've already talked about. Once Upon a Time, which, funny enough, I was just talking about. One of my favorite characters who I relate to heavily. I don't want to give away spoilers because I do like having it be a surprise. Me and my best friend love this show. I had watched it when it was out, and then I didn't finish the 6th season. I've never watched the 7th season, and I will not watch it because it is a fast-forward thing, and nobody has had anything good to say about it that I know. So, you know. But one of my favorite characters comes out. Well, it doesn't actually come out. That's one of the best things to me, is that they don't come out they don't straight up just say, yeah, so, bye, like, it just happens, and I think that's so amazing. And then obviously another character who is very widely loved in their original movie, who ends up coming out, they get together, and then there's one other person who ends up coming out earlier, I think, than these two, and like, it's never fully stated, I don't think, but if you know, you know. Yeah, so Once Upon a Time, it's a great show. Like, I'm obsessed. The next thing is The Fosters. I don't want to go into too much detail about this because I will end up spoiling it. I love it. There's also a spin-off called Good Trouble, which also touches on the LGBT community. But The Fosters, and you find this out super quick, and it's stated in the description, I believe. But it's literally this family that fosters kids that need it, and it's two moms. Other characters end up coming out throughout the whole thing. They touch on homophobia, they touch on just being LGBT, they touch on racism, they touch on issues in pregnancy, they talk about pregnancy in general, they talk about divorce, they talk about issues in marriages, they really cover every subject you could possibly need. They talk about the different stages of transitioning. I think both trans characters that they really focus on are female to male. Love them both, and I love them both as actors. I think they both actually are trans, as far as I know. Either way, they are both really incredible characters. One is shown before transitioning and shows like the problems that you face when transitioning, the fact that people don't accept that you are that you are the gender they don't see you as, the gender that you actually are. They point out through this character that, you know, even though they're male, everybody keeps calling them female and keeps saying you're a girl and that you're a she. That's all there is about it. Unfortunately, I don't think they talk about male to female transition, which I think would have been great to touch on, but they may touch on it in Good Trouble. I'm not sure. Please don't spoil Good Trouble for me if you've watched it. I am not quite done yet. I'm struggling to get through it. It's definitely a slow start. The Fosters is definitely something I won't rewatch because it was an emotional roller coaster, and I know it's coming. So fair warning, you will cry, you will laugh. It's a lot of crying. I cried way too much, but again, I'm an emotional person. Switch to Birth. I'm trying to recall. I haven't watched it in a really long time. I initially watched it for the deaf characters. I do sign. I have times where I'm hard of hearing. Unfortunately, every time I go to see somebody, it's fine, and I can't really control when it happens. So according to the doctors I've seen, I have perfect hearing, yet I will have times where I cannot hear people, or, like, normally it's only out of one ear, but there have been times where, like, my parents can't even get me up, like, I won't hear anything in the morning, and I literally cannot get up to anything other than movement, because I can't hear anything. I struggle a lot with loud noises because of it. I have earplugs everywhere, because that's the only saving grace for me is to plug them in, and I did it when I went on a trip for one of my birthdays. I went to go see my aunt and uncle, and we went to an arcade that was like 30-minute drive. It was in the next town over, and they started blasting their music really loud on the way back, and it made my ears act up really bad. I didn't want to ruin everybody's fun, so I just popped my earplugs in and kept going. Weird thing is that I think it's as long as I know I'm going to hear loud noises, like I can blast things in my headphones, and like these cover, and it makes it hard to hear the outside world. I am getting a little Bluetooth thing that goes, like, Bluetooth headphone, like, earplug? Not earplug. I can't think of the word, but the little headphones. I'm getting a little Bluetooth one, which I'm mostly using, hopefully to, for one, be able to log on to my girlfriend's lives and be able to listen to them especially if I'm out in the room with my family. I can actually listen and not have to worry about them seeing my headphones on. I do have another thing I need to run past on the idea of, but later me problem, which odds are she's gonna see this and probably ask me about it, but it's fine. I haven't figured out how to go about it. I don't know, I'll figure it out. That's not the point. Anyways, Switch to Birth, I watched it because of just wanting to learn sign language. I've been learning since August of... what year are we in right now? Oh my gosh, we're getting to 2021. 2017, 2018 area. Me and my best friend signed. We used to sign during math class right before COVID hit, and she sat like to the back corner, just back diagonal from me, and if we were working, I would sign to her asking if she wanted to come sit beside me if my desk partner had left, and it was really great. I still sign. I have signed flashcards that I got at the thrift store with her. Yeah, it's really fun to learn, and it's really helpful for me. It actually saved me in science class knowing some signs and having my ex know signs, because he really helped me, because I couldn't hear, and we had a substitute, and my normal science teacher knows, my substitute did not, so I had to go and explain to my sub that, hey, I have hearing problems from time to time, and I was like, so I'm having one of those moments, so just fair warning, like, they're going to be signing to me and vice versa so that I can catch things if I don't. And, you know, it's fine, whatever. That's not the point of this. They do have some LGBT characters. It takes a bit, I think, to get into it. There are some touchy subjects, don't get me wrong. Again, this is another teen plus. Kid-wise, Steven Universe, I have never watched these. I have heard good things about it. But these are kid-wise if you are younger and you haven't. Steven Universe, She-Ra and the Princess, I didn't write the rest of this. Princess of Power, I think. And I don't have it on here, but, oh, sorry, I'm spacing. Adventure Time. I personally have not been able to watch it because we haven't been able to find it anywhere, which has sucked. But I remember watching it. I have been rooting for two characters since I knew that two girls or two guys could be in a relationship. I have a pin of one of them and a little figurine of another. But again, don't want to spoil. I don't know if I have it on here. You know what, we'll get to that later. I'm talking about shows right now. We'll get into movies after. I need to hurry because I'm already 30 minutes in and I still need to get through the movies and possibly the songs. Yeah, so then the 100, they touch on, it is touchy, okay? In a more gruesome kind of way. It's a good show. I love it. It has a guy that I used to watch in R.L. Stine's Haunting Hour. I honestly hadn't recognized him, but I'm obsessed. So yeah, 100 touches on it quite a bit. And I mean, a show that is literally two drag queens who I absolutely adore. The Trixie and Katya show, which, I don't feel comfortable saying the name of it out loud because it is basically the sound of moaning. It is literally spelled U-H-H-H-H, like 4 H's and then an N. So yeah, they touch on a lot of things. They talk about a lot of important things, and it's just these two amazing drag queens who I don't think I've seen either of them live, which is kind of disappointing. They're definitely on my bucket list of queens to see. But yeah, their show is absolutely incredible. Me and my mom watch it. We obviously skip some episodes that are very uncomfortable for us to watch together, but anyways. I don't have many LGBT movies I have watched. There are a lot, and you can search them up. I don't want to give recommendations to ones I haven't watched because I don't have trigger warnings. I don't know so if you want to find something, please search it up, look at this stuff, and find it. But one I watch that I've only got 2 on here, which, hold on, I'm gonna go into this one first. Kissing Booth 2, I've only watched that one once. The first one I watch a ton, but with Kissing Booth 2, I think there's only 1 character or 2 characters, but it's very out. Kissing Booth 1, they do make mention to it to a degree, but Kissing Booth 2 is very, they do put it pretty front. But the other one that I have watched a couple times is Handsome Devil. For those of you that watched the last one, I found that it was basically the non-magic version of Carry On. So basically, like, this is combining Handsome Devil and Harry Potter. So yeah, so this is the gay Harry Potter, and that was the straight Carry On. Or, not straight, sorry. the non-magic Carry On. That's really stupid. It is gay. It's LGBT. That came out so badly. Ugh. See, I've only got the 2 to recommend. I will hold this up really quick. I hope this flips. If not, screenshot it and just flip it in your camera. I will hide my face. But those are ones I've taken pictures of. Please look into them before you watch them. I don't want to have to hear about people watching things that were inappropriate, or or that their parents got mad at them for, if, you know, your parents are okay with it. I don't want to have to be the one listening to all that stuff, because I am giving you this warning. Please look into it before you watch them. Personally, I am okay with most of this stuff. If I find something I find uncomfortable, I turn it off or I skip past it. Just please look into it and don't get mad at me for giving you these suggestions. I am trying my best to warn you. And if you don't take my warnings, I mean, I can't do anything about that. Okay. Final thing I'm going to touch on for my pop culture one is some songs. Ow! Sorry, that was very loud. Sorry, that was really stupid. Some songs, I will go into my phone after I go through this list and give you a couple others, but first one is Girls Like Girls by Hayley Kiyoko. It's so weird because I had started listening to this song. I searched up songs that were LGBT related, and this one came up, and then a couple weeks later there's a Drag Race celebrity, secret celebrity, something like that, and she was on one of them, and immediately I recognized her name and I went and searched it up, and I'd been listening to her music. I had never been able to put a face to the song. I just never really searched her out. But it's a great song. Second one is Valerie, the Glee version, which also, I believe my mom said it was by Amy Winehouse originally. Hold on. I'll be smart. Look into it for you. But it was funny. Funny enough, that's the last song I listened to. Yeah, so the original one was from like from 1968? That can't be right. It might be, but I don't know. Sorry, I gotta fix this. My hair's like popping out. But it was funny because I had been listening, because this is the Naya Rivera version. I've never listened to the original. It still hurts every so often to listen to the Naya Rivera version, but I've been listening to it forever. It's been one of my favorites. It was funny because once I got old enough to understand more things, my mom had mentioned to me, like, not in like a hateful way. She just said, like, hey, just so you know, like, in case you didn't, the original version as well as the Glee version is written from a girl to a girl. I was like, okay. And then a year later I came out, which I thought was really ironic. I don't even think it was a year later. I think it was a couple months. So anyway, so that's a good one. Girls, Girls, Boys by Panic at the Disco. I honestly hadn't heard of it before. I didn't know I listened to as many Panic at the Disco songs as I did. But just listening to Brendan Urie in general, he's just amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, he is by... I don't know too much about him. But yeah, it's a great song. Same Love by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. I mentioned it in my last video, I think, or at the beginning of this one. He just kind of goes off about how hip-hop is super homophobic and that they just don't care. So, you know. Lady Boy by RuPaul. I mean, all of RuPaul's music. Obviously support those in the community. RuPaul is a drag queen. He's gay. And he's just such a huge advocate. Other drag queens to listen to, which their songs are actually on here. Mind you, I'm not saying the F word on here. I will probably eventually say other swears, and I will warn you now. But I'm trying very hard not to, because I do want to keep this to a degree that other people can watch it with their families or on their own at a younger age to understand things better without having to hear things that aren't appropriate. Another drag queen to listen to is Alaska Thunder F. Literally F-U-C-K. Adore Delano, Jinx Monsoon. Sorry, I'm struggling to think of drag. There are a lot of drag queens that have music out. Those are just the main ones I listen to. But anything from Drag Race, anything by RuPaul. But Ladyboy is, I think, more directed towards drag queens. All I Want Is to Be Your Girl by Holly Miranda. It's just gorgeous, to say the least. Back to Bed by Boy Scout. That came up on a list for me. I can't 100% figure out how it's LGBT, but it is apparently. Nonetheless, it's a great song. Getting by Pete Gardner from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I've never watched it. I just heard this song on TikTok. Really liked it. I got it. And here we are. Girl by the Internet. I don't think I've ever actually listened to it. I have Girl Crush on here. Listening to it again, I mean, it could be translated as LGBT, but apparently it is about a girl talking about a girl who is dating her crush who's a guy, and she just basically wants to be this girl so that she can be with this guy. It's unfortunate that I read that the wrong way, but I Kissed a Girl by Jill Sabuel. Unlike the Katy Perry edition, where she's, basically talking about it was a tester, I guess? Or basically how she makes it sound. I Kissed a Girl by Jill is actually, her talking about being LGBT. I don't know what is happening there. I like Boys by Todrick Hall, as well as Nails, Hair, Hips, Heels by Todrick Hall. His music in general, but those two are two of my personal favorites. Then if I go into my actual Pride playlist, I feel like I'm going about this the wrong way. I should just go into Pride. I do have Drag Up Your Life, which I could tell you better, or other drag queens. Adore Delano, Blair St. Clair. Lucian Piani does a lot of songs for RuPaul, so if you search him up, you'll get a lot more. Cake Moss has a song called Shade that she did with Alaska, as well as one called Silence that was made during the Black Lives Matter movement, just to basically be like, hey, this needs to get fixed, this is why things are the way they are. RuPaul, Trixie Mattel, the Frock Destroyers, which they actually have music out. I actually meant to download a bunch of it, so I'm gonna have to, but Davina DeCampo, Jujubee, Katya, Trinity the Tuck. However, as of right now, I am not saving that stuff because she has been a bit of a struggle with COVID. But anyways, my next change, Sharon Needles. I don't know how I feel about Sharon Needles. Apparently there's some stuff that's come up, but I'm not too sure. And then apparently Nina West has music. I think this is the first time I've seen her show up on my thing. But from Trixie Mattel, Moving Parts is amazing. It made me very emotional the first time I listened to it. But anyways, this is not the one I wanted to go into. I want to go into my Pride one. There's one called The Bisexual Anthem by Doma Wilson. Fair warning, uses some kind of harsh language, so just be cautious of that. Born This Way by Lady Gaga, obviously, is amazing. I feel like everybody's heard it at this point. Little Miss Perfect from Right Out Loud is amazing. I just heard about it this year, last year-ish. Parents by Youngblood, I think, is LGBT. I have personally heard it to be LGBT, but I could be wrong. Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood, which was recommended to me by my girlfriend. And then The Village by Rabel. Sorry, WRABEL. So, yeah, those are some songs I listen to that are LGBT. I quite love. I need to figure out which song it is. Olivia Rodrigo, who most people know that sings Driver's License, Deja Vu, and Good For You, she came out with a song in the same album called Hope You're Okay. Hope You Are Okay. And it's just the letters okay. Sorry, I naturally sign when I say that stuff. But it's LGBT. I heard about it from a guy on TikTok who I love, who just does gay news. And, yeah, I mean, people off the top of my head to go and support the community. Elliot Page, Dan Levy, honestly, Eugene Levy, Sarah Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Noah Reid. He has I use iTunes, but he did a cover of Simply the Best on Schitt's Creek. That is another show I apparently don't on my list. I just suggest it, period. It's so amazing for the LGBT community, and it's Canadian, and it's amazing. That's all I can say. But yeah, so Dan Levy, basically any of them, but Noah Reid especially, and Dan Levy especially, since they both. Todrick Hall, drag queens, period. Go and support local drag queens, go and support the ones that have been on Drag Race, any drag queens, just support them, they're amazing. Ian McKellen, he is a advocate and everything. I'm really trying to think, and I'm struggling. Lady Gaga, Madonna. I don't know if she has social media. I mean, Olivia Rodrigo, and dozens of other people. I personally, just as people I found on TikTok who I've grown to love, Starboy Blue, his name is Jess. He's on TikTok, Instagram for sure, and then Mimiker. It's MIMIK_ER, I believe. Both TikTok and Instagram. They both have little businesses. And yeah, I personally don't have the money to go and support them yet, but it's gonna happen. If you want places to support that you can buy stuff off of, Pride Palace is incredible. I strongly suggest, buying your Pride flags, buying Pride merch from them. A lot of their stuff goes towards different LGBT organizations. If you want to donate to places, Trevor Project, any of the ones I mentioned in my last video. And I will do my best to make a mental health video at some point this month, because I know Pride Month can be hard because everybody wants to be out, but you might not be out of the closet yet. You might not be safe within your community where you live, in your country, in your city, whatever. You may not even be safe in your family. So I know how hard that can be mentally. I dealt with it with my dad. I don't speak to him anymore, which is another video I'm going to make soon. I made my toxicity in relationships. I plan to make one on toxicity in friendships, as well as toxicity in family. I don't deal with it with my mom. I don't deal with it with my stepdad. Everybody in my house is supportive of me. I've got my Pride flags hanging. My mom literally bought this for me over the weekend because it was in the Pride collection. She bought something that's Pride related so that she can, show that she cares. She's making us both Pride shirts this year to wear. If the Pride Parade does happen, we are going to that. There's a bunch of Pride stuff happening within my city that I'm going to go and support during this month, and yeah, it's officially after 12 o'clock. It is June 1st. It is Pride Month. I am super excited and ready to show my pride. I hope you all will join me through the next few videos I make. I'm going to try to make a lot more this month. I'm finally finishing up school. Should be done in the next 2 weeks, but I once things level out, I have to read this book that is boring me, but I'm gonna get through it. And then I'm gonna get into stuff as best as I can. I have an Instagram set up now for my YouTube page. It goes the same as it does on here. If you give hate, you will be blocked. Whether you give hate to me, followers, comments, if you start freaking out at me for my opinions, you're just gonna get blocked, because this is gonna be my positive page. I will talk about things that are struggles in hopes that people can relate, and in hopes that I can help someone or multiple people. With Pride Month being here, if you are out of the closet or not, if you would like a wallpaper that is specific to you, to your sexuality or gender, and makes it so that if people see it, they'll just see you, contact me, comment, or go and follow my Instagram. It's the same name as my channel. Message me, let me know, and I'll do my best. So, yeah, I hope everybody has a great Pride Month, and I hope to hear from you if you have any suggestions on videos you would like me to do, anything you'd like me to touch on. I'm trying to convince my girlfriend to maybe make videos on here with me, but not certain yet. Yeah. Anyways, I stayed up until June 1st, which was my plan. I am going to tidy up my bed a little bit, put my books away, because my bed's a disaster. I spent my whole day working in here because my house was full. No, not full. That sounds terrible, but this was just a day off for everyone, so work-wise, not school-wise. But yeah, so I just stayed in here so I could work, get my stuff done. I've got a disaster going. So I'm gonna go splice together the part 1 now, really quick, and get that uploading so that it will hopefully be up by, well, today. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying these. Please give me suggestions, give me ideas of how to spice things up. Or if you guys are okay with this just basically being a podcast, that's great. Yeah, if you have any suggestions for other things you want me to talk about, I will do my best to look into them if I don't already know about it. Yeah, if you want to subscribe, great. If you don't, that's fine. I'm not worried about it. As long as this is something that maybe helps you or gives you ideas, that's great. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.